to true crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. All right, guys. We got a really good show for you guys today. Research group did a really good job compiling a lot of this stuff so we can get up to date on this D4VD. I don't know, like this is like the biggest thing in true crime right now because it's like the biggest mystery. That's the word, this D4VD mystery. Like we have all the elements of the crime of a century. We just still don't know who committed the crime. But before we get started, I want to take a moment and say a few things to you guys. So please bear with me. I apologize. I'm sorry. Bear with me. First of all, we are nearing 100,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. I believe right now we have less than 500 subscribers to go before we're at 100,000 subscribers. And this is a massive milestone for the show because we've been doing this for quite a while. And we finally have found our niche, which is we just decided to talk about what we're experts in. I'm an expert in true crime. I'm an active duty detective. And this is what I do for a living. I solve crimes, all right? And so I decided, let me talk about what my true passion is. And my passion is true crime. And since we changed the show to a true crime channel, the audience has really responded, and we really do appreciate you guys immensely. I want to tell you guys, look at the metrics of the show. And the reason why we always talk about the algorithm, so when we look at the metrics of this show, over 70% of the people who watch this show, who get in contact with this show, who see the show on their recommendation page or their next up recommendations, or whatever you may call it, 70% of them decide to subscribe to this channel. That's a very high average for YouTube. Most people are between 30 and 40%. Some of your big channels that you love, between 30 and 40%. We're at 70%. We also have an excellent metric on the amount of time people, the average time people watch our show. The average person watches our show for close to 45 minutes. Everything that we have in our metrics shows that we are a well-loved and well-respected and regarded show. The only thing is, if YouTube doesn't show the show to people, then we're not going to get that many subs. So the fight is with the algorithm. And that's why we ask you guys time and time again to make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you share it with your friends and family, because if the algorithm is not going to show us the love that we deserve, we need to go around the algorithm. We need to do a grassroots campaign. We need to engage in guerrilla warfare where we're in the trenches and we're forcing this show to get the recognition that it deserves. And lastly, we can't do this without you. We can't do it without you. But what makes me come back every day is knowing that when people do see the show, they subscribe. That when people are watching the lives, they stick around for a while and they watch the whole live. That means a lot to me. And that segues us into another thing. I've been so busy and people been hitting me up and congratulating me. I totally forgot myself until people reminded me that on the 16th, which is what's today? Today's the 18th, 2 days ago. That was my anniversary in my career. 2 days ago was 19 years in law enforcement. So we have so many different milestones that are coming up soon and very soon. Soon and very soon. We're going to get 100,000 subscribers. We're going to have a massive celebration, massive giveaways, money giveaway, merch giveaway, the whole night. It's going to be a really cool, relaxed show where we're going to bring in 100,000 subscribers in style. So look forward to that. But I also celebrated 19 years as a law enforcement officer. Next year will be 20 years. And next year, October 16th, 20 years. And I'll be eligible to retire if I choose. And the goal has always been that if this YouTube show is doing what it's supposed to do, maybe I'll retire and do this full time. We're definitely not there yet. But just know that that is what my heart wants me to do. My heart wants me to be a law enforcement communicator with you guys. My heart wants me to be an advocate for the voiceless. My heart wants me to give you guys my 20 years of expertise as we go through these cases with each other and we guide each other, because many of you are lawyers and detectives and police officers and professionals and nurses in your own right. So it's not just me guiding you through this material. It's you guiding me as well. We're doing this together. We're always on this journey together. So that being said, guys, thank you so much. Let me give us a yay. 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 Yes. And thank you for supporting me, and thank you for sticking with me. And I just see nothing but a bright future ahead for this channel. You guys are amazing. Let's jump into, there's one more thing I wanted to say, which just blew my mind, right? Blew my mind. This is one of the exhibits we're going to cover today on our journey, right? to kind of get to the bottom of this D4VD thing. And I noticed something crazy. What do you see that's like crazy on this page behind me? So TeePublic, where our store is at, it's advertising. I'm not paying for this. I don't have any money. TeePublic, the t-shirt manufacturer that we use to do our merch, actually advertises our merch for us on the interweb. So this is TMZ's website. And what do you see here? You see our t-shirts here, showcased right here. These are True Crime with Strategic t-shirts. And when I first clicked onto this, it was like a big banner ad. I had to click off of it because I needed to get on the page. But when I clicked off that big banner ad, we still have this small ad here for our merch. So let's keep going. That's us. That's our channel. If you click this link, you'll go to our channel. Also, I want to give a big shout out to a subscriber who sent me a True Crime Strategic design for a t-shirt and gave us permission to use it. It's now our design, but this is so cool. I'm big into anime, and this person made an anime strategic, and this is Japanese for strategic eyes. This is Japanese for strategic eyes, and as you can see, we got a little sale going on. You can cop this t-shirt for $24. You see how it looks on the t-shirt. It's fire. We're going to get a few of these, and we're going to give this away during our 100,000 celebration. So look out for that. The back says, the front is True Crime Strategic. The back, of course, is this awesome mock-up of me, right? The bald head, you see it, and it got the Professor X kind of thing going on, like I'm an X-Man kind of thing, using my mental on you. It is what it is. It's cool. All right, let me get that out of the way, and now let's get down to business. Now, guys, big shout out to the research crew. So we had a little bit of a kerfuckle. Is that how you say kerfuckle? I don't know. The word is in my head, but saying it is a different thing, right? We had an issue. We had a little issue. It's not a big deal, but our research crew works very, very, very hard. Very hard. I've got some really top tier, very intelligent, diligent researchers that assist the show. It took us a long time to find folks that were the right fit for us. And we found a team of people that is amazing. They are truly amazing. And my research crew actually compiled this. And we were actually planning on covering this. I didn't cover it for a while because I was like, oh man, it's out there. It is what it is, but I'm going to cover it now. My research crew was able to get these 911 logs and determine that there's a discrepancy here. But what they did was they released it onto Reddit. They released it onto Reddit by accident. And then other channels picked it up, which is cool. No big deal. And big shout out to some of those channels that actually shouted me out and acknowledged that this came from the Strategic Eyes research crew. One of them is a big friend to the show. That's Rabbit Hill News, Down the Rabbit Hole News. I call her the Rabbit Lady. So big shout out to Down the Rabbit Hole News. She covered this. She did a show on it, and she also showed us love and acknowledged that this came from my research crew. But this was supposed to be our exclusive that we were going to run with. It got out by accident. It's no big deal, but we're going to run with it now. And this is huge because all of these major news sources were out there saying that the police were called to Celeste's house 3 times in one day. And it's not true. At least from the records that we see, it looks like all of those calls came in at around the same time. So it could either be, maybe it's a half truth. Maybe they are right in that it was different calls coming at the same time. Doesn't look that way from the records. Could be a computer glitch or something. Could be some type of issue with them actually compiling this data and giving it to people who are putting in those FOIA requests. I don't know. But if you look at the data, it clearly shows that these calls are coming in at around the same time. So I want to throw that out there. I don't know how much it matters. I mean, when you say that these multiple calls are coming in at the same time, it's almost like, you know what? Was there a major problem at this home? I think it doesn't paint that much of the same picture if, in fact, there aren't multiple calls coming in and this is some mistake or fluke or something to that effect. But keep that in mind, man. It's something to think about. The records are not telling the same story that we're hearing from a lot of these news sources that are basically saying like, hey, you know, these are multiple calls that are coming in at the same time, etc. So this is another infographic that was put in by the research crew. Big shout out to the research crew. Guys, support the channel. Hit that link that's above my head there that says coffee in the corner. Up there was this way. Yeah, there you go. Everything's opposite with me. My brain can't process that. So it's this way, even though it looks like it's this way for me, but it's really this way. Whatever. So click that link, support the channel with the coffee, guys. We appreciate you. So True Crime with Strategic Eyes. What might those nature of call codes mean? Listen. So these are the codes right here. It's kind of like a legend as to what the codes mean. And just really good stuff. True Crime Strategic Guys, what our CSO said when they sent this report. So when we requested the report, this is what they said. The Riverside County Sheriff's Office located records responsive to your request. Please log into your online account to access the calls for service, the CFS report. While the responsive records were disclosed, I got to zoom this in. You guys know I'm getting old. And I saw a super chat. I'm going to get to that super chat in a second. Give me 1 second. I apologize. So while the responsive records were disclosed, the department has redacted information for privacy reasons where non-disclosable portions of the records are reasonably segregatable. What? Ooh? I'm a pretty good reader, but I don't know what that word is telling me. Let's keep going. From the disclosable portions, the agency may withhold or redact the non-disclosable portions with producing the disclosable portions. Thus, redactions are permitted under the CPRA as long as the basis for the redaction, specific exemption, is identified in the agency's response. The department has asserted the following exemptions. And this is what they wrote back to the research group. It's not what she's writing or they're writing to us and like putting it there. This is what was sent to the research crew. Let's keep going. The department asserted the following exemptions. Government code, blah, blah, blah. The records in question are exempt because under the facts of this particular case, the public interest served by not disclosing the record clearly outweighs the public interest served by disclosure of the records. They're basically saying why they have redacted stuff, etc. Let's keep going. Requested all the entries that said yes under the written, and this is what they said. All right. Research crew requested everything. Just what they said. Riverside County Sheriff's Office has reviewed your request and has determined that records requested is exempt from the disclosure under the California Public Records Act for the following reasons. And they list the laws as to the reasons why they're not giving us the records that we requested. We are trying to get as many records as we can, ladies and gentlemen. It is very difficult because they are not being as transparent as I think that they should be. But at the same time, I do acknowledge that this is an open and active case, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, they have not even named a suspect, and they're playing their cards close to them. And guess what? I may be a YouTuber on the side when I'm not out there doing investigations as a detective. I don't want the information that bad that it will in any way impede justice for Celeste. I'm willing to wait, okay? It'd be nice to have whatever we can have, whatever they're willing to give us, we're going to take, but we're not in any way going to be supportive of doing anything that is going to hurt this investigation. So we'll see what happens. All right. D4VD puts Texas homes in his mama's name. Wow. But before we do that, big shout out to Sarah Adams, $10, longtime support of the show. She's been on the show before. She does behavioral analysis. We definitely appreciate her support and the love that she gives the channel. She says, your favorite behavior analyst is still loving and watching. XX 100K. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. All right. Actually, let me reply. This is a new feature from YouTube. Let me say thank you so much. All right. This is cool. Finally, they'll let me reply to these super chats. All right. Perfect. I just sent it to him. Cool. Thank you so much, Sarah. All right, let's keep going. D4VD is making some real estate moves as cops investigate the death of a 14-year-old. Now, putting it in his mother's name could be for a lot of reasons. I think the primary reason is for liability issues. Because regardless of whether D4VD, what I want to say 100% is D4VD is innocent until proven guilty, and he has not even been charged with a crime, ladies and gentlemen. He has not even been charged with a crime. It was said by LAPD that he is not even a suspect. He is not even a suspect in the unaliving of Celeste Hernandez. But the fact that this minor was in a relationship with him, I think it's kind of, in my opinion, been proven they were in a relationship. He is open to liability. Like, that family of Celeste could sue him. And I think that this putting the house in the mother's name is to get those assets from underneath him, so that in the event that a lawsuit is filed by the family, this is one less asset that they could have access to if they were able to win. It's no longer his. It's in his mom's name. You can't sue his mom for what he did. He's an adult. He wasn't, well, maybe he was a minor when he started seeing her. I think some people saying he was as young as 16 years old when he started seeing her, and she was like 10 or 11. But still, nonetheless, he's an adult. And so it would be very difficult to go after the assets if they were placed in his mother or other people's names. I can't see on a criminal level, in criminal court, why that would matter, except for whether he was to get counsel funded by the taxpayer or to get private counsel. Let's keep going. D4VD is making some real estate moves as cops investigate the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas, whose decomposing corpse was found in his Tesla. He transferred 2 of his Texas homes to his mother. That's very smart of him to invest in real estate once he started making money. A lot of celebrities do not do that. The best way to lock in your wealth is to buy real estate. But let's keep going. According to new legal docs obtained by TMZ, the singer transferred the deeds to 2 Houston area residences he owns under trust to his mother. D4VD made the changes on September 18th and September 22nd, and the 18th was the same day cops were called to one of his homes for a swatting incident. The caller, who was apparently using a device to mask their voice, falsely reported a shooting and a deceased female victim. It looks like his parents, whoever did that, by the way, is an a-hole and should go to jail. I think swatting should be illegal. Should be a major felony to swat somebody. There have been instances where people have been swatted and they have been murdered because of the swat by police. And I say murdered because they were innocent. They were innocent. One guy was playing a video game and he got swatted by the person he was playing against on Fortnite or something like that. He went outside with a controller in his hand. He got shot by SWAT. A controller in his hand. Fortunately, that swatter was arrested and did get a very long prison sentence for what they did. It should be highly illegal and a very serious felony. Let's keep going. As we reported, LAPD executed a search warrant at the LA rental home where D4VD was living on September 17th. D4VD, government named David Anthony Burke, is tied to the shocking discovery of Celeste Rivas' body last month. She has been reported missing from her Lake Elsinore, California home since early 2024. Remember, we haven't covered this in a while. I don't know if some of you guys have stayed up on this, but don't forget the show that we did the last time we covered this, where we determined through evidence, through video evidence, that even though she was missing for a time in 2024, she went home multiple times, and the family was not being honest and accurate with any of us. They pretended as though she never went home. She went home. She went home. There's video evidence of her being home as early as September of 2024. Let's keep going. Authorities believe she may have been unalive for weeks before her decomposing body was found in the Tesla front trunk or frunk, whatever you want to call it. Let's keep going. D4VD canceled the rest of his tour. Let me go ahead and put this on mute because it's making a lot of noise. Just to let you guys know, if you guys hear any noise or banging or anything like that in the background, I do have some construction workers doing some much needed repairs. We had our back patio door replaced because for many, many years, it could not lock. We had to put a piece of wood there to make sure nobody got into the house. Well, it's about time that we fixed it, that actually got a working lock on it. And that's what they're doing today. Much needed repair. So let me go ahead and put this on mute. Perfect. But if you hear something in the background, forgive me. Please do. We reached out to D4VD's lawyer for comment. So far, no word back. Let's keep going. Whoa, another advertisement for the True Crime Strategic merch. I'm not doing this on purpose, people. So yeah, go to TMZ so you can see my merchandise for the show, and then make sure you click the link so you can go buy something. All right, let's click that off. Big shout out. to T Public for advertising our merch. D4VD puts Texas home in mama's name. So it's basically going to be a recap of that. We'll go ahead and move on to the next exhibit. Let's do it.
Welcome to TMZ Live. There is a new surveillance video that we obtained with the Mark Sanchez fight that ended up getting him arrested after he...
All right, so we're going to go ahead and fast forward real quick to the 38-minute mark. That's when we're going to get the information that we need on D4VD. Big shout out to the research crew for getting this all in order. We appreciate you. We can't do the show without you guys. You guys are amazing. Well, we could, but it'd be very difficult. And it wouldn't be as polished as it is now. Let's keep going. All right.
At Evening with the Shark in New York on Tuesday, where all of us sharks get together. Charles and Harvard, wish you were there. We'll do one in L.A.
Send us a jet.
An evening with the Sharks.
Send us a jet, man. Send
us
a jet.
On the way.
All right.
All right. This guy has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I like this guy. I want to shout him out because this guy's a really good black entrepreneur. He started the clothing brand, can't speak, called FUBU, For Us, By Us. And it was very popular in the 90s. It made him a multimillionaire, and now he's on the Shark Tank. And I really like him. He's a cool guy. He's always fair to people who come on the Shark Tank. He's never rude, and he's a good businessman, and he also is really good to his community, and I love that. Let's keep going.
We'll see you next time, Damon.
Bye, Damon.
All right, guys.
Coming up.
So the investigation into Celeste Rivas' death continues. Her body was found in the Tesla belonging to singer David. And what we just, story we broke yesterday is interesting.
Be right back.
So the investigation into Celeste Rivas' death continues. We don't know the cause of death yet, which is a big thing.
By the way, we don't even
know
know if it's a homicide.
Right, exactly. Don't
know.
know
This is my thing, right? Everybody keeps saying that, and I get it. You have to acknowledge these things, especially a channel like theirs. They're really big. You know, they got a target on their back. I get it. We have to do the alleged. Even I have to do the alleged and all that stuff. Because I ain't got no money, so if you come for me, you're going to get nothing, right? But anyway, bottom line is, she's in a trunk. If she did pass away unexpectedly, if it was like an overdose that she was taking the drugs and nobody else was giving it to her, if she tripped and fell, if she like was acting like a toddler and found a gun in a cabinet and blew her brains out or something, whatever it may be, like if nobody aided in her losing her life, why would you stuff her in a trunk? Why would you stuff her in a trunk? Why don't you just call the cops, say, yo, listen, you know, she needs help, she's overdosing, or, you know, whatever. You know, like I said, you can't, it's very difficult to build a case of ex abuse against anybody with her not being here. Those are very difficult cases. I said that, people got mad at me, like I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, like I don't specifically investigate these things for a living, right? In ex abuse cases, you very often need a living person unless you have other evidence that could point to it, right? So why not just call the cops? You know, you could have just said that you were just really good friends with her and you guys weren't romantic, you know, and then at that point, you wouldn't be charged with anything, you know, maybe endangering, I don't know, whatever. The bottom line is, it doesn't make sense to me. Their actions point toward homicide, in my opinion. The actions of hiding the body and letting it decompose in a trunk for months. I mean, every time we hear about this, it's like the body was in there longer and longer and longer. So at the very least, the very minimum that we've heard is the body was in there for weeks. But it could have possibly been in there for months. Why would you do that if you did not have guilty knowledge of something untoward happening to this little girl? Let's keep going. I just wanted to throw that out there in the ether.
it's a homicide. But what we do know is that her body was found in the Tesla belonging to singer David. And what we just, story we broke yesterday is interesting. It doesn't move the investigation any further, but it's just something interesting that happened in David's world. He is the owner of 2 homes. And
all right, real quick, I just want to give you an example. Some of you guys might get mad at me, but I got to give you guys context because I do have expertise in this stuff, right? I had a case. This case is closed. The person has passed away. Person claimed that they were ex-assaulted in a park. We got a kit done, the whole 9. We got DNA back, the whole 9. My boss pulled me to the side and he's like, yo, did you do a follow-up with your victim? And I was like, yeah, I spoke to her like last week. He was like, you spoke to her this week? I was like, no. And he said, yo, go do a search on her real quick. I don't know why he said it like that, because for some reason it affected me like bad. I think he was kind of like joking a little bit because we're all like a little desensitized. But he said, yo, go do a search on her. And when I searched her up, I saw she was deceased. She passed away. And for some reason, it really broke my heart. I don't know why, because I'm usually just very, I don't know, desensitized with this stuff. And I think he saw it. Like, I think I got like I'm not gonna lie to you, my eyes welled up. I was like, she's dead? For real? And I think that wasn't the expression he expected me to have. I think he expected me to have like the usual like, word, oh shit, man, it is what it is. Like kind of like how we have to be in law enforcement because we deal with so much trauma. You gotta not let this thing soak in. You gotta let it bounce off a little bit. Usually I'm like that, but this time it just hit me. And I was like, damn, she's gone, I just spoke to her. Guess what we had to do? I had to close the case out. I couldn't say for sure whether it happened the way she said it happened because it was complicated. It was very complicated. I don't want to go into the details as to the complication in the case. But the fact that she was gone, the case was over. It was over. We could not prosecute this guy, even though I will say there's a possibility he wouldn't have gotten prosecuted anyway because her case was complicated, and I don't want to go into those details. But I'm just telling you that once a complainant is deceased, unless it's special circumstances, it's very difficult to move forward with an X crimes case, especially a case that does not involve straight up forcible rape, a case that's basically a consent case, meaning that 9 times out of 10, if there was, inappropriate contact between Celeste and D4VD, it would most likely have been consensual, but it would have been unconsensual or not consensual based off of the age difference and the law. Those are very difficult cases to bring forward if the victim is deceased. You need the victim to testify. You need something. You need some proof because we don't have no proof. We don't have no proof unless they're sitting on DNA that they collected from her cervix or something, semen they collected from her cervix. Unless they have that type of evidence, I don't know. It'd be very difficult to put a case like that. Let's keep going.
Both of those homes were transferred to a trust in his mother's name. The date is what's interesting.
The date is critical.
The date of the transfer, the first transfer was on September 18th, and the second was on September 22nd.
And what's interesting about the 18th date is that was the same day we broke the story that cops had gone out to that house for a swatting and his mom answered the door.
Right. That part you'd have to assume is just coincidence, right?
Right.
But there was a search. The search warrant.
But the search on the home where the rental home where David was living in LA, that happened on September 17th.
So literally a couple of days after the police execute a search warrant, which, by the way, requires proof of probable cause that a crime was committed inside that house.
Right.
Then he transferred title to this trust that is run by his mother.
I will say this though, and I don't know, not having
And the trust shields him from liability in terms of like you can't sue that trust. Like you can't take that money out of that trust. I think this is a play to protect him from civil liability. Let's keep going.
set up a trust and transfer it at home. That's not something you can do in 24 hours, right? It seems like something.
Well, you could.
Yeah, you
I
could.
mean, look, I don't know
Absolutely, you could do it in 24 hours. You just need a good attorney to put the papers together, and that's it. That's done. It doesn't take that long at all.
timing is, and you
Right,
may
whether he was
and by the
doing
way,
that.
You may be right. It's just odd. He was on tour
It definitely-
when this was happening.
Right.
Now, it doesn't show that the investigation is moving the needle based on that.
No,
It is interesting.
it is just interesting.
This trust situation has nothing to do with shielding him from criminal liability. It has everything to do with civil liability because regardless of what happens, Celeste's family could sue him because he was harboring a runaway. Regardless of what he did with that runaway, she was with him, and that is a problem.
I'm Empress from Atlanta, Georgia, and I do find it very interesting that he made this move. It seems that he's preparing for the worst.
One of the reasons people do that is if they
I like her hair, by the way. I love the twisty thing. Looks nice. Let's keep going.
fear a civil lawsuit.
Right.
And
Boom!
they
I
want to
told you
somehow
guys.
protect the
I never seen this before. I told you. Harvey just said it. Civil lawsuit. I told you. Let's keep going.
assets. So again, we don't know if that's the case, but I've seen it before.
Yes.
What else do you guys want to talk about?
Harvey Lebeter from Fort Smith, Arkansas. The whole RFK thing is absolutely insane.
All right, we out of there because we're not here about no politics. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. What's the time stamp on this one? This one's 8-minute mark. Let's do it. We're TMZ heavy because TMZ is like really on this. So a lot of the exhibits we're going to have today is going to be from TMZ. Big shout out to TMZ for allowing smaller YouTubers to use their content without copyrighting them and stuff like that. So big shout out to you, TMZ. We got nothing but love for you, but let's keep going. We don't always agree with you, but we got love for you.
That would otherwise trigger collecting on those assets. So we have rules in different states. Sometimes they're called fraudulent transfers. Sometimes they're called fraudulent conveyances. There's a lot of different names for them. But the crux of it is you cannot transfer assets to protect yourself from a creditor when the event, the triggering event, in this case, the death of Celeste, happens prior to. This happened just in the last several days versus her death, which I'm not even sure we know exactly when her death was, but clearly these transfers are after her death. So it would take little effort for a court to undo this transaction and rule that it is a collectible asset of David.
I didn't know that. So this is big because I'm not an attorney. So I figured that this transfer was as a result to shield his assets, not himself, but his assets from liability, from being collected upon. This attorney is saying, listen, you can't just make these transfers after the bad deed was done. Because then the judge could say, oh, you only did this because you just don't want people to collect on your assets for money. No, we're going to undo that. That's deep. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Now, if he would have transferred this stuff to his mother long before Celeste ran away to his house, long before he probably took her innocence, long before he maybe allegedly, who knows, maybe he didn't, took her life, then those assets would be shielded from him getting sued. But because it happened after all of this stuff just popped off, this attorney's saying that it's not going to work. I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I'm just listening and learning like you guys. Let's keep going.
Be clear about something else. We don't know 100% why he did this, right? And I'll go to some other theories. But perhaps it does have something to do with this case regarding Celeste. If he did this in anticipation of a criminal action or he did this in anticipation of a lawsuit, to be clear, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's guilty. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's liable. It doesn't necessarily mean that he did something here. It would just be an anticipation of what could happen, right? Because he could come out and say, I'm being falsely accused. I'm just doing what I have to do to protect myself. But that doesn't necessarily, what we say in the law, it's not consciousness of guilt, right?
Well, I'm not sure I entirely agree. I think
okay, that's fair.
I think you could make an argument. And depending on how it comes into evidence, you could have admissible evidence against him that it is essentially an admission of wrongdoing or an admission of liability. Now, if there's a criminal case, he can't be called to the stand and say, hey, David, why'd you do this? Right? He has Fifth Amendment protections. He'd never take the stand. But that doesn't prevent his mother from taking the stand. And nothing insulates mom. So they could depose mom and say, why did David do this? Did he ever tell you why he did this? And all of his conversations, all of his text communications with mom or anyone else, those would be admissible evidence. So I have a feeling if they dig, and I suspect they're going to dig, you'll probably find some communication that is admissible and can eventually be used against him. Again, speculating. Look, I hate saying this, but if he's innocent, he has nothing to hide. That's such a sort of a weird, terrible cliche that sometimes people say.
Yeah.
So obviously, if he didn't do anything, if there's no judgment entered against him in a civil case, right, or if there's no fine levied against him as part of a criminal conviction, right, then yeah, the conveyance is fine and nothing will eventually happen. I think the circumstantial evidence here is that something did run afoul of David's life, and that's why he did this.
Okay.
Would his mother have to testify about this transfer?
Yeah, his mother would have to testify. The lawyers who did the transaction would have to testify. The lawyers who drafted the trust documents might have to testify, depending on how these documents were created. I kind of want to see those documents, because were these properties in a trust to begin with? But
they were in a trust. My understanding is that they were in a trust, and he just transferred the trust to the mother, but they were already in a trust. So I wonder if that makes a difference. I missed the super chat. Big shout out to MM Claire. When I asked super chat, she says, "Are you going to CrimeCon in Las Vegas next year?" It's a big no. Not going to CrimeCon. These places are dangerous. And MM Claire also said that she sent me her recipe for Italian sausage soup. I don't know how to feel about that, MM Claire. I don't want nothing to do with no sausages, all right? I'm just joking. We appreciate you, MM Claire. You are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. You are great. All right, let's keep going. Back to this. Like I said, my understanding is that they were already in a trust. He just transferred the trust over to his mother. Let's see what the attorney has to say about that, if he has anything to say about that.
he was the beneficiary of the trust and the deed was simply in the name of the trust. If that's the case, then he simply transferred the beneficiary. It's still a fraudulent conveyance. It's still going to be undone if there's eventually a judgment against him. Or did he create the trust for the purpose of this particular conveyance?
All right, so he's saying even if it was already in the trust, but he changed the beneficiary from himself to his mother, then that will still be undone by the court if somebody chose to sue him based off of Celeste or whatever. Very interesting. Let's keep going.
And if he did, that trust document probably would have been created in the last few weeks. I want to know how that trust document came into existence. A whole lot of people are going to have to testify about that.
And real quick, why put it in a trust as opposed to just, I don't know, selling the properties to his mom?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a belief in this country. I do this a lot. There's a belief in this country that if you just put your assets in a trust, they're somehow protected. And the truth is, the reality is, almost all trusts are breakable at some level. Even the most honorific offshore trusts, you see this all the time with offshore trusts in the Caribbean or offshore European trusts, you can eventually break those trusts. It's very hard. It's very expensive. So I suspect he sort of just said,
I got a trust in the Antarctica. Yeah. Can't break my trust. It's frozen in ice with the polar bears.
Put it in a trust where it won't be immediately reachable. I don't know if it's a revocable.
I got a trust with roaches in it. Ain't got nothing but roaches in there, baby.
Trust, if it's an irrevocable trust. If it's a revocable trust, he can simply revoke the trust and take his assets back. It would take one sentence. He could just write, I hereby revoke the trust, sign his name, the assets go back to him. If it's an irrevocable trust, he can't do that because by definition, it's irrevocable. It can be undone by a court if it was fraudulent. But there's all kinds of tax implications for a revocable trust versus an irrevocable trust. I'm not sure why he did this, except I suspect this was sort of a basic low-level attempted asset protection that I don't think is going to provide much protection in the end.
Right. I'm glad you clarified that. And by the way, let's just talk timeline real quick. Yeah. Any reason that this happened on the same day of the alleged swatting incident? Coincidence? Could it not even be connected to Celeste? Could it be, hey, if my family is now being targeted in some way?
All right, just to let you guys know, it looks like we're having some connectivity issues. You might see some buffering or maybe not, but just know that I am aware of it, and hopefully it will correct itself rather quickly. Let's keep going.
Let's just go with that theory. My family's being targeted. Is there anything that this could do to help his family, protect him?
I thought about that. My gut is telling me it's coincidental and it's just sort of an odd timing. There's one aspect to this that I don't know about yet, which is, has the family sent a demand letter? Has the family of Celeste, not David's family, has Celeste's family lawyered up? And have they sent a demand letter to David and his people? And if the answer is yes, that demand letter may have actually triggered some of this. That may be why the timing is what it was.
And this also...
All right, big shout out to Perpetual with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. That was really kind of you, man. Thank you. Generosity is appreciated. The way YouTube's been doing me lately, this show will probably get the big D word, to be honest with you. It's been hard to pass anything past YouTube that was monetized. Let's keep going.
Happened, our understanding, is the day after police got a warrant to search that rental property out in LA. Now, remember, that was a property that he had been renting reportedly $20,000 a month, gets out of it, breaks the lease, moves stuff out. Think that's any part of it?
I'm not sure about that. I've thought about that. He owns properties. He's living in a rental. There may be some tax benefits as to why he's owning property in Texas, but only renting property in Los Angeles. It's LA, obviously, is a very expensive market. So there may be a lot of reasons why he was only renting. And then the question is, look, all of his properties are going to be subject to a warrant, right? His cars, his bank accounts, his phone records. I'm sure LAPD, this is high profile.
I'm just saying, like D4VD, he acting like he a rock star like this guy over here. You guys heard about this guy? Oh boy. This guy was this British rock star who was going after all the youngins. Got ended inside of the Giselle in Britain. I don't know, man. You better leave them youngsters alone, D4VD. Anyway, let's keep going.
I am sure LAPD has had multiple warrants that have been executed, most of which we probably don't even know about, against his properties, his cars, his phone, his credit card companies. This is what happens when there's a high-profile investigation like this. Lots of warrants are going to be issued.
All right, we're going to leave this one right here, guys. Please go check out Law and Crime and TMZ for more coverage on this. We're definitely on our train trying to understand this. Let's go to the next one. TMZ. Whoa, another advertisement for True Crime and Strategic Eyes. Don't be a per diem mom, and let's keep going t-shirt. Let's keep going. Swatting caller uses voice changer to report bogus shooting. Whoever did that needs to go to jail, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the 911 audio from the swatting call at D4VD's family home in Texas, and it sounds like the person phoning as a bogus report of a fatal shooting is using a special device to mask their voice. All right, let's see. Do we have that? Is that going on the next one right here? I think this is it right here. We'll skip over to this one so we could get that swatting voice. Let me go ahead and get my bearing real quick. This is can an expert 8-minute mark. Let's see here.
Gunshots.
Okay. How close to your residence were they?
They were like right outside my house, and I think someone's dead.
We've talked about how David's...
All right, so let's go over to the 8-minute mark because we're going to have an expert talk about it. And I'm curious to hear what they have to say. Before we go to that expert, though, big shout out to Messy Sweets with a $2 super chat. Says, new here and I love it here. 100. Appreciate you, man. Welcome. We hope you stick around for a while, become a part of the family. We do love new people joining the show. If you don't mind, go in the chat and let us know how you discovered us, man. You are amazing. Let's keep going.
Right into your bank account. So once you have the free Upside app, you claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. You pay as usual using a debit or credit card. You follow the steps on the app.
All right, hold on here. First of all, we got to get over here. Fast forward just a tad bit. Second of all, we got 435 people watching this live stream right now and only 268 likes. You guys do know, I'm not going to lie. You come on YouTube, us creators, we ask for you guys to be members. We ask for you guys to do Patreons. We ask for you guys to buy t-shirts. We love when people give us donations, the whole nine. I get it. But you guys know there is something for free on YouTube that you never have to pay for. And that's to leave a like for somebody who's trying their best to entertain you and give you information. Guys, it costs you nothing to hit that like button. Please hit that like button so we can get into the algorithm and we could grow this show. Please do support the channel. Let's keep going.
A, it is a real life person using a piece of technology to mask their true voice, or is this AI generated?
Well, it could be either, but just from my experience and, 30 years of doing this, it sounded like a voice changer to me. And the reason why it sounded like a voice changer is because it all had to do with pitch. And for those of you at home, real simple, pitch is how high or how low your voice can go. And that's real easy to change. Real easy to change. You can do that with, a free app, a 99-cent app. You can do that with forensic software. If you make music, you can do that. You can do that on your WavePad. You can do that on anything. So pitch is basically just the degree of high or low of the voice. And that's the easiest way to start. But I have a sample here that I want to show you how easy it is and how by looking at it, we can say, wait a second, this is our first clue. This is the first red flag. I'm going to put this in forensic software and I'm just going to take a look at the voice formats and say, hey, how is this done?
So is this you saying this may be how the voice was changed using this piece of technology, this program? Is that what you're showing us?
It's very possible.
Okay, so show it to us.
On the law, I need help. On the law, I need help.
On the law, I need help. Okay, so
I think the voice. I think it was a female that did this call. I think that the real voice lies in this range here. I think the real voice lies in this range here. Because when we listen to it, right? Let's see if we can get it while they're playing it. If you listen to it, the lower end sound artificial. The higher end sounds the realest to me. I mean, hopefully she'll break it down, but I think it was a female that called this in, or a child. Either a child or a female. Let's see.
How the voice was changed using this piece of technology, this program. Is that what you're showing us?
It's very possible.
Okay, so show it to us. Okay, so Jennifer, there is a possibility that someone is using a technology to mask their voice, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And how I do see that when I put it into the software, okay? Now, when you're looking at it visually, and the first thing I did was I took a small phrase, okay, from the actual recording that you sent me. And then following up on that, 4 times I changed the pitch right in a row. Then I took the pitch down 10. Then I took it down another 10. And then I raised it all the way up to what a female level would sound like. So you're talking about 4 different sections that you can see visually, because I wanted to show you this is how easy it is.
Right.
You can do this in an app. You can do this anywhere. So all you're basically,
while she's breaking this down, because it's interesting, I think she's going to tell us what she thinks. I haven't seen this before. I think she's going to tell us what she thinks the voice really is. I'm going to work on giving you guys 10 free gift memberships to the Patreon. So we're going to drop 10 free gift memberships to the Patreon. I got a ton of content on the Patreon. You're going to have a ball over there. And we hope that after you get that free gift membership, that you will continue your membership with True Crime Strategic on the Patreon. We're going to hook you up today, people.
doing is changing the pitch from high to low. And we can go from male, we could go from, Luther Vandross all the way up to Mariah Carey in the touch of a button.
In other words, even though on the 911 phone call, the dispatcher is referring to this person as a male, as a sir, right? This could be a woman?
It could, absolutely.
Okay.
Not in this, they changed their voice changer all the way and brought the pitch down so it sounds like a man, but this could be anybody.
It's
Is there any way to pinpoint the technology that they use? You said there's a free apps. Is there any way you could say, I know exactly what this technology is?
I think it's a shorty, say what you like. Just to back it up, you be on my eyes. Now let's say you own. What am I talking about? I think it's a female, man. I think it's a shorty. She called it in. That was mad. That was lame. What if the police would have shot that man's mother? His mama had nothing to do with Celeste being in that trunk. Do not swat people. You are a child of the devil if you out there swatting people and putting people's lives in danger, innocent people's lives in danger. Do not do that. They find out who she is. I want her in jail next to whoever did that horrible thing to Celeste. Let's keep going.
I know where you can buy it. I know who would have, maybe look at the purchase history, anything like that, or am I thinking too deep into the weeds here?
No, you're not thinking too deep into the woods. Like I said, it comes back to the source material. And since this has been everywhere, looking underneath the hood is not going to give us that. But looking at the spectrogram and some tips and tricks that we know as forensic audio analysts, like, wait a second, regularly spaced harmonics, untouched harmonics usually have a straighter line. When you're going to see this visually, this is going to be blurry, but we call it stepped on. This is blurry, this is fuzzy, but yet, depending on where they put the pitch, the lower formats and frequencies of the fundamental frequencies stay low. They stay within the range. So that's how.
All right, real quick, I just dropped that free gift membership to the Patreon. You got to hit that link. So whoever hits the link first, is 10 spots available. You will be able to sign up for that free month of the Patreon. Let's keep going.
I know that basically someone took an app or software that's available anywhere, or it's on their iPad if they wanted to. And I'm just gonna turn the pitch up, or I'm gonna turn it down. It really is that easy.
Now here's the $1 million question. From what you've seen, is there any way to pinpoint the identity of this person? And I apologize for this question. I don't even know if there is a database out there of voices, if there is a way to take someone's voice that's not altered, you put it somewhere and you say, I could be able to identify who that person is. I'm sorry if that's a juvenile question, but A, is there a way to pinpoint the true voice of this person and be able to identify who this person is?
Well, this is the forensic question. And you know what? Unfortunately, you're going to get the answer, it depends. And again, it depends on the provenance and the integrity of the recording. What I can do, and what I showed in this example, is I showed you how I can start from the recording that you gave me, how I've changed it, and how I can bring it back to exactly what it was before. So it depends answer is, if I had that original recording and we had, you know, an alleged or a person of interest or a couple persons of interest, and if I lowered or raised the pitch to the same frequency and we had some matching frequency, it would make a very interesting pool of suspects.
That's a great point.
All right, we'll stop it there. Big shout out to Carrie Cowherd, excuse me, not Coward. My apologies, Carrie. Carrie Cowherd with a $5 super chat. You are amazing. And by the way, guys, unfortunately, those 10 free gift memberships have been gobbled up. Maybe I'll feel generous and give 5 more or even 10 more. Who knows? The Patreon is so good, I could just give away 100 of them. And I know at least 50 to 60% of you guys are going to stay because I drop a lot of content on that Patreon. Let's go to the next one, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So Celeste Rivas' casket carried loved one's final goodbye. Remember, nobody cared about Celeste when she was alive. I don't think they cared. I'm not gonna lie to you. Celeste was back and forth with this guy, and very minimal was done to bring this little girl home. So it is what it is, man. Who am I to judge? Yeah, I'm one to judge. But it's unfortunate. Let's get into this. Celeste Rivas' family and friends gathered Monday at Queen of Heaven Cemetery and Mortuary as they carried the slain 14-year-old's casket to her final resting spot. A hearse pulled up to the Rowlands Heights, California cemetery next to a large tent. The funeral service will finally give her family and friends a chance to say goodbye after a case that's rattled LA and left more questions than answers. As we reported, Celeste's decomposed body was discovered last month in the front trunk of a Tesla belonging to singer D4VD. The car was abandoned in a house the singer was renting in the Hollywood Hills and was impounded. Celeste's body was found days later in a vehicle at a Hollywood tow yard. So this is it, man. Police believe Celeste, who friends in D4VD circle reportedly thought was 19 years old, had been dead for weeks before her remains were found. She's been reported missing by her family in early 2024 from her Lake Elsinore, California home. So I guess everything was done underneath that tent. Of course, there's tons of reporters out there. That's probably over the burial ground. And, you know, they do that in order to protect people's privacy, and rightfully so. You know, personally, listen, I'm on here on YouTube. All right, I got you. I got it, Aki. I'm on here on YouTube, and I'm here to get information. But I would, if I'm a reporter, if I'm a news agency, I'm not going to the burial. I'm going to give the family that measure of privacy where they can, you know, put their loved one to bed. All right, let me see here real quick. All right, I got you. Take it easy, McGreasy. It's all good. Perpetual with a $20 super chat. Appreciate you. You are so kind. Thank you for supporting the channel. You are great. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep going. So Aki wants me to play for you guys the whole 911. I didn't really think it was necessary because most everybody have already heard it. That's why I played the small sample, and then we went to the expert. But let's see here. Let's see what they got going on. I think it might be this. Let's see. Here we go.
I'll go out wide and keep you covered.
Now that's the actual video. Let's see if we could find that 911 call. It might be this.
But it's just me and my daughter, the only females here. She's 8.
Yeah. Who was
Four
the
of us
person?
live in the house.
Nah, that's just a body cam. I mean, listen, we all heard it. We heard the sound of the person's voice. We know that they called in a fake SWAT. Yeah, you know, we don't need to hear all 5 seconds of it. You know what I mean? All right. I don't know, you know? All right, let's keep going. So yeah, so it says in the time since the body was discovered, D4VD's been radio silence, pulling the plug on his tour, shelving his deluxe album Rollout Withered, and even apparently moving out of the Hollywood Hills rental home where LAPD have executed a search warrant. He hasn't been spotted in the public since. All right, let's keep going. They're going to talk about the funeral.
Also, new developments in the case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose body was found in a Tesla belonging to singer David. The teen's body has been released to her family for burial.
That's right. Mario Ramirez is live in Hollywood with more on what we know about her funeral. Mario.
Brooke, Jen, as the LAPD continues its investigation into the death of 15-year-old Celeste, this is still being referred to as a death investigation, not a homicide. And it's been more than 2 weeks since her remains were found here at this Hollywood tow yard. Take a look. 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez pictured here. Her family finally able to receive her body. The LA County Medical Examiner confirms the remains were released to her family for memorial services, but officials haven't made public exactly how she died or whether or not results are pending. Her remains found a day after what would have been her 15th birthday, stuffed inside of a Tesla, impounded here to this tow yard after reports of a strong stench. And that Tesla registered to the singer David, real name David Anthony Burke. He has since canceled the rest of his world tour for his album that was released earlier this year. And while he hasn't been involved or named a suspect, detectives searched a Hollywood Hills home the artist was renting not far from where that Tesla was abandoned before being impounded. And as investigators work to piece all of this together, TMZ's Harvey Levin joined Fox 11 last night saying police have been very tight-lipped about all this.
All right, big shout out to H. Sing Chang with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. And we got a 1 gift membership from Christine Journey 64. That's very awesome of you. Thank you. And Perpetual, just giving a big shout out to Perpetual again. This is very kind and generous of Perpetual because she's already given a $20 super chat. So that's basically, she gave $40 in total. That's really cool. It's really, really, really cool. I mean, that's so kind of her. So yeah, for all these folks who are supporting the channel, we do appreciate you guys immensely. All right, let's keep going.
I have rarely seen the LAPD play their cards as close to the vest as they are in this case. They are on lockdown. There is some radio silence here that personally I find unusual, just based on the way things have operated, you know, as long as we've been around for 20 years.
Now, David's team says he's cooperating with the LAPD's investigation, but it's not clear what he's told them. Celeste's family describing her as a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend. The family, through a GoFundMe, has raised more than $24,000 for funeral expenses. And back out here live, services, private services, are now scheduled for October 4th.
And that's cool because, I mean, they live in an impoverished area, and I don't know their personal finances or whatever, but I'd imagine that these folks aren't of great means. So it's really nice that they were able to raise enough money to put Celeste, you know, to rest with dignity. I love that. I love the fact that they were able to afford the tent, a good burial, so they can have a private ceremony. I have my opinions on what this family did while she was alive and the fact that they did not protect her. I'm a father of children who are around the age of Celeste. Some are a little bit older, some are the same age, some are younger. And I could not imagine not bringing my daughter home. I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine her being with a D4VD, and I'm not screaming for the hills, assassinating this guy, God forbid. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But I mean, if he's got my daughter and I'm trying to get her back and he's not letting me get to her, he's going to have a problem. He's going to have a big problem. So for me, not seeing this family do the things that I think they should have done to get her back, it hurts my feelings, but I do at the same time acknowledge that, you know, they're in mourning, and I'm so happy they were able to put her to rest with dignity. All right, let's keep going, man. We're on that train. I see people talking about that Carter story. I'm definitely going to cover that as well. Very sad stuff there. Very, very sad stuff. Let's keep going.
Telly, the Los Angeles mom who was sentenced to life in prison for the 2017 murder of her celebrity hairstylist husband, Fabio Cementelli, So to talk about this, to talk about the implications of these new details, particularly hiring a defense attorney, let's bring in our own criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, Matt Mangino. To be clear, Matt doesn't represent us in a criminal arena, but we love having him on. He's a great guest. Matt, it's really good to see you. So a lot of online sleuths in the true crime community, they are obsessed with this case. They are digging into David's past internet activity.
All right, so we're going to skip ahead real quick. Actually, where we need to be, actually. My apologies. Big shout out to the research crew for making it so easy on me. Big shout out to Vicky Israel, $5 super chat. She says, can someone tell me if I got one? I love it here. The problem is, Vicky, we don't know what you're talking about. If you got what, Vicky? So please go in that comment section and at one of the moderators and explain what it is you're trying to figure out that you got. All right, we want to help you out. You've been here for a little while. We appreciate your support, and we want to make sure that you're taken care of and your questions are answered here. All right, let's keep going.
His posts that are either with Celeste, believed to be with her, believed to be about her. There's been a lot of reaction to his hiring of Blair Burke. Before we even get into what the reaction is online, your thoughts on him apparently, reportedly, retaining Blair Burke.
Wait. I'm going to bring it back because I keep stopping. I'm going to bring it back to the 18-minute mark. And the reason why I'm bringing it back is because I got to stop the show for a second. And I got to give a big shout out to Rochelle Sean. Rochelle Sean with a $50 super chat. $50. I don't even spend $50 at the supermarket. If it costs $49.99, I start putting stuff back. She gave us a $50 super chat. She says, wishing you a happy anniversary on your incredible law enforcement career. God bless and keep you. Oh, thank you so much, Rochelle. Thank you for your generosity. That was very generous of you. It shall not be forgotten. We love you and we appreciate the support that we're getting from beautiful people like yourself and Perpetual and all the other people who have dropped super chats today and show us love on a daily basis. Thank you. Thank you immensely. You are appreciated. Now, let's start back over again. I'm sorry for the pause, guys, but we have to show love to people who show love to the channel.
Is in for the 2017 murder of her celebrity hairstylist husband, Fabio Cementelli. So to talk about this, to talk about the implications of these new details, particularly hiring a defense attorney, let's bring in our own criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, Matt Mangino. To be clear, Matt doesn't represent us in a criminal arena, but we love having him on. He's a great guest. Matt, it's really good to see you. So a lot of online sleuths in the true crime community, they are obsessed with this case. They are digging into David's past internet activity, his posts that are either with Celeste, believed to be with her, believed to be about her. There's been a lot of reaction to his hiring of Blair Burke. Before we even get into what the reaction is online, your thoughts on him apparently, reportedly, retaining Blair Burke.
Well, that's a good decision. Anytime your name starts swirling around in a criminal investigation, even though the police have made it clear that he's not a suspect at this point, it's always a good idea to hire an attorney. Before you talk to anybody, before the police come out and talk to you or ask to talk to you, have an attorney in place, have someone who can try to control the narrative at least, because of course he is a celebrity and his wealth and his resources come from his celebrity status. And so you want to protect that as well. And so a criminal defense attorney, someone particularly who's...
Now, also, I told you guys that D4VD had money before he went and became a recording artist. Remember, he was making his own music on the internet, on SoundCloud, on TikTok. Not only that, he had a very big social media presence. He was making money from endorsement and monetization. So don't get it twisted. This guy had money. I'm not saying he was a multi-millionaire. I'm not saying he had 20 million in the bank. But this kid was making hundreds of thousands of dollars for a very long time, quite possibly even $1 million for a very long time before he actually signed his contract. And when he signed his contract is worth between $2 and $5 million. Between $2 and $5 million. And remember, recording artists make their money from shows. So his cut from his album is between $2 and $5 million. And then all the money he's making from his tours, he's gonna cut it at too. And his shows were sold out. Sold out shows. Dudes showing up to the shows with bloody T-shirts on, not even knowing that they reenacting the ending of Celeste, allegedly, possibly, but I have no evidence of it. I don't know. So this dude is caked up. We're going to talk New York style. We're going to have that New York slang. He caked up. He got money. He don't got Jay-Z money, but he got money. All right, let's keep going.
Represented other people who were celebrities, can be very helpful in this very important time.
Why do it now? Why do it now? This is after, by the way, that Celeste was ID'd. This was after apparently the property he was renting was searched by law enforcement. They reportedly confiscated some materials. This is after he canceled his tour. This is, after the death certificate was published. Why now?
Well, I think, let's be honest. I mean, this is kind of a strange situation. There's no question there's a connection between him and this teenage girl, very young. Her body is found in his car. He has a place, or his manager has a place nearby where he may have been staying. We can't ignore the lyrics of some of his music, which are eerily close to what the facts of this case are. Now, prosecutors are not going to file homicide charges until they know the cause and manner of death. And, as your viewers, Jesse, know that this could be an accidental death. It could have been a suicide. It's unlikely that it's natural causes. But the question is it homicide? And what was the cause of death? Once those two things are answered, I think this investigation, really picks up some steam.
If David weren't in any way connected to the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, wouldn't someone have come out with a statement? As we think about the car, the property he was apparently renting, the new footage, the statement from police, we are now getting new perspective on this case from a former detective commander. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
All right, let's go to the 22-minute mark, and let's listen to this detective commander.
Since her body was found in the trunk on September 8th, authorities have not identified a suspect nor a person of interest. And to be clear, David has not officially been implicated in any wrongdoing or any crime, and law enforcement have not even come out with a definitive connection between the singer and Celeste. But I want to bring on right now Will Svilar, who's a retired detective commander. Will, thank you so much for taking the time. You and I haven't had a chance to talk about this case yet, as it's really in the news. It's continuing to develop. We're trying to understand what's happening behind the scenes. Since you and I haven't spoken, let me get your perspective. Why no arrest? Why not name any suspect? Why not name any person of interest at this point?
Well, thank you for having me on your show, Jesse. I'm a big fan. This is True Crime with Strategic here. Active duty detective. Yeah. So the reason why I feel like there hasn't been a suspect named yet is because they don't know the method by which the... I'm just joking. Let's listen to this dude.
It's been weeks now, and it's almost, what are we at? Almost a month, almost a full month since the body was found.
Well, one thing I want to be clear on is a crime has been committed. Now, and the crime is minimum, we call it in Illinois, desecration of a corpse or improper handling of a dead body. The girl was put in the trunk of a car.
No shit, Sherlock. Let's keep going.
Dismembered. Somebody did that. That's a crime. Now, the events leading up to her death and her actual cause of death still has to be determined. And without that, you're not going to get a murder charge. Unless somebody says it's a murder, and that's the medical examiner, you're not going to get a murder charge.
To couple that, we've talked about this extensively here on Sidebar, but I haven't talked to you about it. LAPD Captain Commanding Officer Scott M. Williams told People magazine, quote, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has
I see people talking in the chat about the video of the last person I was seeing driving the Tesla. We are on it. It's part of our exhibit. We're going to get there. We do appreciate you. Thank you for dropping the information. We love that. We love when you guys do that. But we're going to cover that today. That is breaking news, basically. It's one of the biggest news that's come out of that. And we're definitely going to cover it. All right?
Determine a cause or manner of her death, so we don't know for sure if anyone has any criminal culpability for her death beyond the concealment of her dead body. Now, with that in mind, something I don't think we've talked about yet is that Fox 11 LA, they spoke with a private investigator, Steve Fisher, who apparently got his hands on images of that car, the Tesla.
Right. This is my issue, all right? And this is, I'm just being very transparent with you guys, all right? I don't know much about SF Investigates. People constantly say negative things about him whenever I use some of his material on my show, which I've used in the past, because these are the people who are boots on the ground covering this, all right? So I've been very like, whatever, you know, he's doing a walking tour of that community. It's good stuff. I'm going to cover it, all right? But this is my small problem, all right? And this is no way is indicative of the work that the guy does, because I don't know him like that. But he was 100% 10 toes down saying that he observed written material, email from the family of Celeste to the manager of D4VD, where they said, we know that Celeste is with D4VD, send her home. He said he was adamant about it. Then the manager for D4VD gave his own response where he said, listen, this is not true. I have never received an email from Celeste's family saying that they know that Celeste is with D4VD and to return Celeste home. I'm a family man. I live in Florida with my family. I never lived in that house with D4VD. I paid for it. The apartment is in my name, but that's it. And there's people that stay with D4VD on a daily basis, and I'm not one of them. Then SF Investigates come back down. He's like, "Oh, you're lying. I know you're not being honest." I'm paraphrasing. He was like, "Prove to us that and say definitively you had nothing to do." He was 10 toes down. And then what happened? I'm on Twitter, aka X, and what do we see SF Investigates doing? I think that I may have been mistaken, or I was lied to, and I don't think now that that email actually exists. He didn't say allegedly there was an email. He said there was an email and that he saw it with his own eyes, and that and I believe he said he saw it with his own eyes. If I'm mistaken, then I'll apologize. And then he said it was given to law enforcement. He said that definitively. So that's a problem for me, because I make mistakes all the time, but you can't say something definitive like you saw it with your own eyes and then it's like, it's not a problem. It's water under the bridge. It's not, because that guy's reputation is on the line. His reputation is on the line. And this might possibly be a homicide case. And now we're kind of like implicating the manager when there's no evidence that the manager had anything to do with anything. And then the manager says, yo, I didn't do it. And then you like 10 toes down, like, yeah, you did. And I got proof. And you don't have proof. But I'm still maintaining an open mind on it. He's been retained by the owner of the rental house to do a private investigation on this, and I'm looking forward to see what his findings is. And he's saying that he has video of who was the last person to drive the Tesla vehicle, and that he's handed that over to law enforcement. And if that's the case, that's huge, and I appreciate the work that he's doing to bring justice for Celeste. But I had to just tell you how I feel about that situation that happened with the manager. Kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but we're all human. We all make mistakes. We'll see where this goes.
Celeste was found in. And remember, this car was apparently sitting there for weeks before it was towed to that tow yard, and then workers there smelled this foul odor and alerted authorities. But it was in the Hollywood Hills. Now, it could suggest she was in that trunk for that extended period of time, too. We don't know how long she was in the trunk per se, but her body was decomposed. Anyway, so Fisher says, quote, the car almost looks like it's been off-road in the desert or something. The wheel wells are all beat up. There's a huge dent in the back. This could have been an overdose, and they panicked and hid her body because they didn't want to expose the relationship between her and the minor. And by the way, she was found one day after she would have turned 15. With that in mind,
that's very troublesome for this investigation. Once again, I haven't seen it with my own eyes. This is what SF Investigates says. He's a Twitter guy. I don't know this guy. I don't know his credentials. I don't know none of that stuff. All right. If he found video of the last person to drive that Tesla, and the police didn't already have that video, we got a problem.
Oh my God.
All video on that block should be in possession of police by now. If a private investigator, Twitter guy, No disrespect, no shade in that. If a private investigator Twitter guy found video that the police doesn't have, that means they're not doing their job.
Oh my God!
That means there's no justice for Celeste.
Oh my God!
That means this case is tainted. This case has been poorly investigated. That means, Houston, we got a problem.
Oh my God!
I don't know. I pray to God that when he called them up and he said, I got this video, they say, yeah, we got it too, but just send it anyway. But we got that video. I pray to the Lord Jesus. Do I got something for that?
Does that make sense?
We got to have something like praying to Jesus or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. We'll find something. But if this is the first time they saw that video when SF Investigates sent it to them, Lord of mercy, we got a problem. Let's keep going.
Mentioned that a crime has been committed. We're just not exactly sure how many crimes.
That's absolutely true. And that's correct. Everything we talk about now as far as cause of death is speculation until we have some science to back it up. When you talk about a crime, we talk about the concealment, the dismemberment, the desecration of the corpse. We also talk about a situation where if they can prove that there's some sort of relationship between a 14-year-old and a 20-year-old, that's a problem.
It's a big problem.
Yeah, the age of consent in Illinois is 17.
And so in New York, he would be charged with R in the second degree. R in the second degree, I believe. I think it's either 14 and under or 13 and under. It's one of the two. I'll look it up. But if it's 14 and under, then he'd be charged with R in the second degree. Let's keep going. I'm going to look it up right now. I want to give you the facts.
Can't give consent at 14 to be with an adult. There's another crime. That's like the backside of that is another crime. If the LAPD can come up with definitive proof that he was in fact involved in a relationship, he has another problem.
Let's analyze this a bit. What makes more sense to you? Someone panicked, put the body in the car, didn't have enough time to know what to do with it?
In New York State is R in the second degree, which is a Class D felony. You could get some time for this. Is when a person 18 or older engages in X contact with someone who is less than 15, meaning that 14 and under. I hate when the law does that. Less than 15. It confuses some people who's not in tune with the law. So that basically translates to 14 and under. So that's a serious felony if he was in New York. If he was in New York, where the age of consent is 17 years old, he'll be charged with a serious felony because there's no excuse for a 20-year-old to be engaged in intercourse with a 14-year-old. There's no excuse. I don't care if you're in the same high school or whatever. You're old enough to know better. You do have some super seniors who's 20 and they're in the 12th grade and haven't finished yet. I get it. But you should still know better. Even though you go into history class with them because you're a dummy. No disrespect to anybody who is a super senior, who is 21 years old, still in high school. No disrespect to you. But, you might still be a dummy. But it's all good, though. Listen, you're still old enough to know better. It's not society's fault that you couldn't graduate high school in a reasonable amount of time. You're going to be going to school with some kids, and you should just be focusing on getting that high school diploma, not stooping people's little babies. There's no excuse for it, point blank, period. R in the second degree, 5 to 10 years in prison. Let's keep going.
The car was there for a long period of time, though, so I don't know if that makes sense. Or we're purposely putting it in this car. We know it's registered to David. The car is near where the property he was renting was. There's an argument we're targeting David. I mean, what makes more sense to you?
Well, it's an awful elaborate scheme to target David by a rival or something along those lines, to do a murder and then steal his car and then put the body in the car. Now, he never reported this car stolen.
Did he sign a recording contract with the Mexican mafia or something like that? Like, this guy's a crooner. He's a crooner that wears black nail polish. He might go both ways. No disrespect to that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying the way he acts. He was acting like he was Celeste. We did a video where it was almost like he was transforming into Celeste. His hair was looking like Celeste. His clothes was looking like Celeste. His fingernails was looking like Celeste. He was wearing Hello Kitty like Celeste. Who's targeting this guy like he's some mafioso or something? Who's like, you know what? We're going to go through this whole rigmarole to frame him, kill his underage girlfriend, put her in the trunk, drive the car around, and pretend like he did it. Who's going to do that? For what? To what gain, man? If you want his money, just go put him in the corner and say, give me your lunch money, man. Come on. This guy's not tough. Come on.
Stolen. So we don't know if there's an auto theft in that.
I love it. Somebody said the Discord Mafia. You guys are terrible.
Oh, my God.
That seems pretty elaborate to me. The girl dying of her natural causes is possible. A murder is definitely possible. And you say the car is found not far from where the house he was renting. The car's been evidence that it's been in the desert off the road. If I'm investigating this, I am trying to find a route from his home to where this body is found and see if there is any, like, part of the out of the desert or an off-road area where maybe she dies or she's killed. They take her to that spot. They do what they do to her body, put it in the car, and then get rid of it and then ditch the car. So there's a lot of things that still
All right, one more time, guys. It looks like I have a bad connection. We have some serious connectivity issues. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. Hopefully I'll be able to fix it soon, but I'm just letting you know, if you have any choppiness or any glitching, it will pass. It will pass. It doesn't seem like this lasts more than maybe a minute or two. Let's keep going.
To be determined.
And to be clear, law enforcement hasn't come out and said, what the condition of the car was. But here's the point. When we say there's been officially no identified suspect or person of interest, do you think police really do have somebody? And I guess the bigger question is, and this is a bigger theme I have today, are they just not making it public? If it didn't involve David at all, in any way, would they say it? Would they say, hey, listen, we want to clear him. At least we'll put out a statement and say at this point in time, David is not connected to this whatsoever. I haven't seen a statement like that. Now, I'm not suggesting that he is. Again, he hasn't been officially implicated in wrongdoing. But would it be typical of police to say, if he had absolutely no involvement in this whatsoever, and there's this whole cloud on a lot of public attention, I have to imagine they have more information than we do at this point. Would they come out and immediately, clear him of anything?
It's case by case basis. I mean, if you absolutely know it's not him, you know that. But I can tell you that these detectives are operating on theories too. There's probably 2 or 3 different theories that they're operating under. And I think they're not giving that information that he's been cleared because they just don't know yet. They're still trying to figure out exactly what went down, what caused this girl's death. And we talk about persons of interest.
Yo, big shout out to Mimi. I don't think Mimi knows who she's talking to. She says, at AF City, she talked to my mom, says, makes no sense to me. The owner dropped $15K on a PI when he just lost a tenant, LOL. These people are massively wealthy. These people are super wealthy. Like $15K is $15 to the owner of that house. That's a house that is worth millions of dollars. Like, it's nothing to him. And I think he has so when I say who you talking to, I'm not talking about my mod. I'm talking about, like, do you understand, like, who's the person who's dropping his $15K? And you also understand that he has an incentive to show that he's cooperating and he's trying to do the best he can to assist in this investigation. Why? Because his property value just went down. Because it's now embroiled in a possible homicide investigation. And since the police are taking 1,000 years to come to a conclusion, he can actually boost his property value by being a part of the solution. He becomes a celebrity in his own right by saying, I'm the one who solved the case. I got the private investigator and did what the police couldn't do. So there are there's a lot of upsides to the property owner hiring a private investigator to get to the bottom of this, because it's a win-win. It's a win-win because his property has been impacted, whether it's for better or worse, it's been impacted by having a connection to this tragedy. So that's what I'm thinking. But the amount of money he's spending means nothing to him. And the fact he doesn't have a tenant means nothing. Many of those properties go unoccupied for long periods of time because they want the right tenant. They don't just want any tenant. They want the right tenant. And they're not buying these properties to rent them out. These properties are to hold value. They just rent them out so they can just get some residual income. But that property is an investment for that person. They don't care if it just stays empty or not. They got millions of dollars. It's just an investment. Renting it out is just a little bit of a bonus. Anyway, big shout out to Aki with 5 gift memberships. That's right, Aki, queen moderator who gets on my nerves behind the scenes, gave 5 gift memberships. You guys are amazing. You guys know how Aki do. She always whipping me. She's like the ball and chain. She's the slave driver over here. Big shout out to Leslie who gave 1 gift membership as well. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Let's keep going. Ooh.
It's kind of a weird statement to use, or a weird way to depict somebody as a person of interest in a disappearance. Because the girl's been gone, missing for 1.5 years, roughly, I believe is the number. How could you be a person of interest in a disappearance unless you're doing an abduction? And I don't think there's any evidence that she was abducted. It seems like she left under her own free will. So I think there's not a lot of information coming out because they just don't know yet. They're operating under theories, but you can't just, talk about all your theories.
What's going on?
I heard some gunshots.
Okay. How close to your residence were they?
They were right outside my house. and I think someone's dead.
We've talked about how David's parents seem to be the victims of a swatting incident as police investigate the death of a young girl found in the singer's car. But right now, we have the audio of the person calling in that apparent fake report to David's parents' home. And as
my fault, guys. I had to take a quick call and see if mommy got home because I heard my son making noise. I was about to leave the live and go upstairs, but since mommy's home, we're good to go. We'll keep going on this train. All right, we got another advertisement for Strategic Eyes merch. Big shout out to T Public for getting our merch out there. We appreciate that. Exclusive D4VD's former landlord takes investigation into death of Celeste Rivas into his own hands with LAPD silent. We're going to get into it now, guys. The owner of Hollywood Hills Mansion, raided by police probing the death of a teenager linked to D4VD, has hired a private investigator after weeks without answers from police. Let's keep going. Celeste Rivas Hernandez's decomposed remains were discovered on September 8th in the front trunk of an impounded Tesla owned by singer D4VD, real name David Anthony Burke. She had been officially missing for more than a year after running away from home in April of last year at the age of 13. On September 17th, LAPD homicide detectives raided the $4.1 million home where Burke has been staying. Officials confirmed the search was linked to Rivas' death and said several items of evidence were collected for analysis, but gave no further details. Since the raid, no arrests have been made, no suspects publicly named, and the cause of death for Rivas has not yet been determined. Wow. So I don't know how to say this name. I'm just going to call him MT. Trifunovic MT. Mladen Trifunovic. I don't know what's going on. That's that Russian oligarch billionaire oil money or something. I'm just guessing. I have no proof or evidence of that. Whatever. MT, who owns the mansion where D4VD has been living, is desperate for answers. He told the Daily Mail he's only limited contact with the police and is concerned about what role, if any, his home may have played in Rivas' death. Determined to find the truth, Trivanovic has hired a private investigator to review surveillance footage and interview potential witnesses to determine whether Rivas ever stayed at the home, and if so, when she was last seen there. Okay, let's keep going. It's a nice house. I like it. I have a private investigator gather information because my family and I want to understand what may or may not have happened in or around a home that is very special to us, said Trifunovic. We are not interfering with the LAPD's investigation. We are simply seeking answers. I fear may not be communicated to us unless we use a licensed investigator. Burke has not been charged or accused of any crime. LAPD has not said whether he is cooperating. The 20-year-old has been living at the property since February of last year, which was rented by his manager, Josh Marshall. The Daily Mail was first to report that Marshall abruptly broke the $20,000 a month lease within days of the raid, citing the ongoing situation concerning Burke. Burke's current whereabouts are unclear. He has retained a top Hollywood attorney who has yet to issue a statement. Trivanovic said he only learned Burke was living there when police stormed the rental property. To his knowledge, nobody was home during the raid. Burke, who was touring in the U.S., and Marshall has since claimed in a social media statement they never lived at the property. This is the property. It's very interesting how the lot looks. Very interesting. It looks like a nice house. Looks okay. Looks okay. Be honest with you. It looks okay. All right. Neighbors said Trivanovic, the home had been extremely quiet, and weekly maintenance workers, gardeners, pool cleaners, and pest control said they noticed nothing out of the ordinary. He said the police activity left no lasting damage and he hasn't been told what tests the LAPD conducted. Sources have claimed officers were looking for blood evidence. That has not been confirmed, but officers were seen removing multiple items, including a laptop. I have not been told by law enforcement that Celeste died in the house. There are no obvious signs that something happened inside, Trivanovic said, adding the LAPD has not shared any plans to return for additional tests. I believe they have everything they think may help the investigation. Although my family and I did not know Celeste or even know D4VD was staying in a home, we are terribly sad about her passing. And that's not unusual that they don't know who's actually staying in a home because the home is rented by the manager. That's precisely the reason why the manager is the one on the lease, because you want anonymity as the star. You don't want the landlord to know that you're living there. You don't want the neighbors. They probably end up finding out, but you want anonymity, so you put it under a trust, a LLC, or under your manager. Let's keep going. And because our home is a focus point of this case, I'm working with a private investigator to better understand the circumstances of what happened. Trevanovic said he will only consider leasing the findings of his investigation. Come here, buddy. Once the LAPD probe is concluded. Wait right there, son. I'm going to get with you right now. All right, guys, let's go to a video. So let me see if I can address what's going on with my baby boy right now. Let's make sure we got this. All right, this 10-minute mark, we're going to start this. I'm coming with you right now, buddy. I know you're not happy. I'm coming.
Arrived at that final parking spot. I'll tell you, I do have surveillance from different houses in the neighborhood. So much a crime. No, and I'll just be honest with you. We don't have any evidence that anything happened to Celeste at that house, but there is definitely evidence that we've collected that helps the timeline. We now have a much better understanding of when that Tesla arrived at that final parking spot. I'll tell you, I do have surveillance from different houses in the neighborhood showing the Tesla being moved. So things like that, and I'm not even saying that LAPD didn't have that. I'm sure they did, but we wanted to make sure, and we did some work and on the up-resing the footage to find out who was driving the vehicle. And there are some other items that were found at the house that weren't taken during the search warrant. And search warrants are limited, right? They can't just go take everything. It's what the judge, and we don't know how broad that search warrant was because we haven't seen it, and that's what we'd like to see. But there were some things that were not taken into custody of LAPD that we think are significant, and including digital media and some other things that really help nail down timeline and things like that.
You handed that over to LAPD. There's other.
We have literally the day that we, the things that we've recovered, we've given to LAPD within 24 hours.
Do you know who was driving that car, that Tesla? You don't have to tell me, but do you know the identity?
Yeah, as far as it going to the final, what we believe is the final parking spot where it was towed from, yes.
And that information's been communicated to law enforcement.
So it's been given to law enforcement. They're not going to tell us if they're confirming if that's a person or not. Robbery, homicide.
I'm confused with that. I'm very confused with what he just said. Let me go back, give him some context. I don't want to, I want to understand what's happening here. Big shout out to everybody who's watching the channel right now. Please hit that like button, support the channel. Really good turnout today, and we appreciate you. All right, let me get some context on this.
Do you know who was driving that car, that Tesla? You don't have to tell me, but do you know the identity?
Yeah, as far as it going to the final, what we believe is the final parking spot where it was towed from, yes.
And that information's been communicated to.
All right, so he's saying he does know who was the last person to drive it into the parking spot where it was found from. Like he kind of answered that a little bit wonky, but my understanding is he's saying yes. We know who drove it into its final parking spot. Let's keep going.
Law enforcement.
So it's been given to law enforcement. They're not going to tell us if they're confirming if that's a person or not. Robbery, homicide.
Why would he say that for? It was given to law enforcement, but they're not going to confirm whether it's a person or not. I don't understand that. I don't understand what relevance that has or why he would say that. I'm not even trying to critique this guy. I'm trying to understand. You just told us a second ago that you observed a person leaving the car in its final parking spot and that you know who that person is. And then you just said that, and then he asked if you gave it to law enforcement. You said, yeah, we gave it to law enforcement, but they're not going to tell us if it's a person or not. I don't understand. Let's just keep going.
The way they work is we'll take your information. We're not going to speak on it, so I don't know. But listen, it's very clear that that neighborhood is filled with surveillance cameras, and the timelines, once we learn those dates and we can see other things that were happening that were even public on Instagram and whatnot, were going on in those people's lives, it makes a lot of sense.
So let me ask you this. If you see when the car was parked there, have you seen anything to indicate that Celeste's body was transferred into that car after the car was parked there? Or in other words, do you believe that her body was in that car the minute it was parked in the location?
Let me go back because I want to hear that question again. He's given compound questions. Never ask compound questions, ladies and gentlemen. You ask one question at a time. So Jesse Weber, the attorney, I love Jesse, by the way, is asking a compound question. Let's see if we can get it.
You see when the car
going on in those people's lives, it makes a lot of sense.
So let me ask you this. If you see when the car was parked there, have you seen anything to indicate that Celeste's body was transferred into that car after the car was parked there? Or in other words, do you believe that her body was in that car the minute it was parked in the location it was ultimately towed from?
So I'll say I have no evidence of a body being transferred before or after. There's no evidence of that at all. But I will say, when it was moved to that position, it was already like that. So that car had not been used in a very long time. It was super dirty, caked on dirt. I'll tell you, this was in late July. So it's bizarre because we also got media that the car was used a lot. David even spoke about it in Instagram videos. He took it to a detail shop and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, the very beginning of the year, that car, something happens, and that car's doesn't show up anymore. It's not used. It seems to disappear. And then that red Tesla learned, which we didn't know until the search warrant was served, that there's a red Tesla in the garage, which I can tell you was leased on February 1st.
Yeah, let me just narrow down here. Do you have the precise date of when that car?
All right, this is very confusing for me, guys. I don't know. Like, it just seems a little convoluted. I'm rocking with it, though. Somebody said we're getting rated. I don't know from who. I want to definitely thank whoever is rating the channel. We do appreciate it. If guys, please make sure you hit that like button and support the channel by subscribing. We do appreciate you. Kay is now a recruit member. Welcome to True Crimes family. We appreciate you. Hope you enjoy that exclusive content. Let's keep going.
The one with the Tesla, with Celeste's body inside. When it was left there, do you know the specific date of when it was left in Hollywood Hills?
I believe so. I believe it. July, late July, very late July.
So one thing that we've heard, and this is something we've talked about, is the LAPD has seized footage from the rental property, multiple security cameras around the property. There are even reports of a smashed Ring camera on the ground. And according to TMZ, police seized all the footage from multiple security cameras at the house last month when they executed the search warrant. TMZ described that footage as a, quote, potential gold mine for investigators. And the question becomes, did you see anyone coming into or leaving that property after the Tesla was there? So after the Tesla with Celeste's body inside is there, can you tell us you saw people coming in and out of that property before before the search warrant?
No, not from the time that the Tesla was left. So from the time the Tesla was left there, he literally immediately started the tour. There was a tour bus that was leased, and I'll tell you that Tesla was moved and literally a bus departed for tour.
Okay. You talked about things that might have been taken from the house, things that you handed over to LAPD. Is there anything you can share with us about what that information may be?
One thing that you just brought up, and I guess which TMZ reported on, the security system. The house has got a very sophisticated security system, not just with cameras, but with sensors and all types of things. It all records to a DVR. And for privacy reasons, the owner, when he leased the house, said, this is the system that's in the house, and you can use whatever functions you want on it. That's not something that then the owner could access. So we don't know if the cameras were enabled or not enabled, but if they were, it wouldn't just be cameras. It would be, we'd know anytime anybody came and went from the house, anytime anybody opened a window, everything, if they kept it like it was. But we don't know. LAPD came in and took that whole DVR. They took the entire system, which you would expect. And I've talked to the security company that installed the system, and they've told me, how it was set up. We think it was probably running because there's limited alerts that the security guy can see, which is stuff like if there's a major failure. And there was a low power failure warning that triggered right when they were executing the search warrant. And I think that's when they unplugged the system. So there's reason to believe that the system was running. Whether the cameras were covered or not, I don't know. I can tell you that some of the smoke sensors in the house were covered, and that's probably because maybe they were, I don't know.
Smoking the ganja. That's why. Big shout out to Rach, NTR, who's now a recruit member. Welcome to the family.
They're doing in the house. So the cameras might have been covered as well.
During the course of your investigation so far, have you learned more information about Celeste and David, perhaps their connection, anything we should be thinking about that hasn't been publicly reported? Is your investigation also into them as well?
Sure. Yeah. And one of the reasons that we've kind of come public with what I'm doing is because I have a little bit different method of working than a lot of private investigators and then what people think is the proper way of doing it. I believe in this digital age, and when, especially the younger generation, when they're on places like Discord and you don't even know their real identities, I put myself out there, and those people do come to me, and a tremendous amount of people have come to me, and I've learned a lot. Now, listen, a lot of it's circumstantial, right? But there are people that are directly in his orbit, and there are people that have photos and videos, and we've gotten a lot of photos and videos from inside the home itself. So we can put people at certain dates and times at the house, and there's a lot of them. It's in the thousands.
Wow. Do you know if Celeste was ever at that property?
So, what we recovered, we don't have any of her at that property. We have pictures of her and that were taken by David, we assume, because it's not on a camera phone, but these photos are on a regular camera at different locations. And it really makes me think.
But the neighbors said that they saw Celeste before. Maybe Celeste wasn't ended at this property. Maybe she was ended somewhere else. Maybe the reason why they can't see somebody putting Celeste into the car is because Celeste was never put into the car at this location. Maybe she was put in a car somewhere else. Remember, in his song, he said he ran over the girlfriend, and that's how she ended. Maybe there was some type of domestic. Maybe he ran her over. She's gone. He put her in a frunk, aka front trunk. And when they get to that location, she's already in the frunk. And she's never removed from the frunk. So you're going to see him coming in and out. You're going to see the people who work for him or his accomplices, however you want to label it, allegedly, may not have happened, who knows, driving the car back and forth. But you never see her being placed in a car, maybe because she's already been placed in a car at a different location. I don't know. Let's see what he has to say about that.
That it's likely she had another place she was staying. I can tell you that there was a lot of time spent towards downtown LA. And I'll say the last photo that we have of Celeste is January 2nd, 2025.
Okay, now that's significant because we were wondering when, she was last seen alive. There was that surveillance footage of her seemingly running away from her neighborhood.
And that was September of 24, I believe. So we didn't have anything.
That wasn't September of 24. That was in March of 24. September 24 is when she's arguing with her neighbors outside of her home because of the ding-dong ditch game or whatever. But let's keep going.
We were like, where was this girl in 2025? But we do have a photo of her on July 2nd, early in the morning, July 2nd, 2025.
Has anyone, and just to be clear, you don't know more information about when she died, right?
No, okay. I don't have any information of how she died or when exactly she died. Investigations are always moving, and right now I tend to believe it happened a while ago, a long time ago. And I think January, February, things changed. I mean, you can see it in the photos and everything. And I also think when I first started looking at this case, I'm very much an Occam's razor type of person where I think things are a lot easier than people try to make them sometimes, especially online, into these big things. And I thought this was going to be a tragic overdose, which it very well still could be. And they made a bad decision because they didn't want to expose a potential relationship and put her in this Tesla. And then maybe he thought he could get somebody to get rid of that car. And they were just like, no, I'm not doing it, and just got left there. But I will say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that...
Somebody said, please stop saying frunk. It's a frunk. That's what you call it. Frunk. A front trunk. And I don't say frond. I never said frond. I said frunk. Tonya Horton. Frunk. That's what you call it. A frunk. Let's keep going.
There could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind.
Has anyone from David's team, management, legal, anybody reached out to you or your client?
I know that my client's been in touch with his manager, but only for the purpose of the lease, because they did ask to terminate the lease. And I believe the other manager that
I was playing along, but Aki banished her. See what you did, Tanya. Now you on that spreadsheet, man. I was playing along with you, but you on the spreadsheet now. Let's keep going.
technically was the owner of the red Tesla, I think was in touch with him just because they needed access to the house to get that vehicle and stuff out. Because that's another thing that I think could be key in this, is that there's only one key to that house, and who had that and who had access to it and who was in it. Because we also have evidence that while David was on tour at the time between the Tesla being found and the search warrant being served, David was on tour, but somebody was in that house. And there was actually a report made, not with police, but that homeowner association has a robust private security company, and we've gotten videos from them and reports. And so who had that key is probably the same person that, had access to the Tesla.
All right. Tay Toon with a really good question. Says, hey, question, did Celeste's mom ever report David for kidnapping? Does anyone know? The answer is no, Tay. No. They never reported any type of kidnapping. There was a missing persons report in the spring of 2024, and that is it. One missing person report. And there's allegations and even some evidence that between March and September of 2024 that she had returned home 4 times. And the most famous one is September of 2024, when we have video of her arguing with her neighbors. So she has returned home multiple times since that singular missing person report was made in the spring of 2024. So when the family said that the last time that they saw her was spring of 2024, March, they were not being honest. February, March, they said they were not being honest because she had returned home multiple times between March and September of 2024. And apparently, people are alleging that D4VD used to pick her up right in front of her house. On one instance, they went on a date together to the movies, and she was picked up right in front of her house. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to believe, guys. But it looks like this is much more complicated than we'd like to believe it is.
Do you know who that person is, and do you believe that is the person that moved the Tesla?
So I definitely know who moved that Tesla on that late July before they went on tour. I can't say who the person, and I don't mean I can't say but I don't know who exactly was in the house, because it's just a report, but there's video, but you can't make a person out. But somebody was in the.
I'm so confused here. Jesse asked him a very simple question. He asked him a very simple question. I don't know this guy. I'm not trying to harp on this guy. All right. But I want facts. That's what I do. All right. And when we talk about alleged, we talk about alleged. This guy is saying factual, some things that he's saying are facts. I just want you to answer the question. Jesse asks you, do you know who drove the car? And he's like, I know, but I don't know who's in the house. Nobody said anything about the house. He asked you who drove the car. Yes or no? Do you know who drove the car? Let's go back here, because maybe I'm being unfair. And I don't want to be unfair to this guy. I don't want to be unfair. So let's see here one more time.
Who had that key is probably the same person that, had access to the Tesla.
Do you know who that person is, and do you believe that is the person that moved the Tesla?
So I definitely know who moved that Tesla on that late July before they went on tour. I can't say who the person, and I don't mean I can't say but I don't know who exactly was in the house, because it's just a report, but there's video, but you can't make a person out. But somebody was in the house, and being that
he's vomiting words, man. He's vomiting. Yo, if this guy reach out, I apologize, man. I'm not in any way trying to disparage this guy. I don't like that stuff on YouTube, man. But this is troubling for me. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know if he's trying to be slick. I don't know if he's talking out of 2 sides of his mouth. I'm confused. I'm very disturbed with the investigation that's happening with LAPD, and I'm very disturbed with the way this guy is presenting right now. I'm being honest with you. Take it or leave it. I'm not trying to hurt nobody. I'm not trying to start calling no beefs or nothing, because I heard he has a propensity of reaching out and being mad at people who have opinions. Whatever. I don't respond to that stuff. I need you to be more clear, my friend. I need you to be more clear. It's either you know or you don't know. If you don't know, nobody could blame you because it's not even your job to know. It's the job of the LAPD to figure this out. If the LAPD doesn't have the answers, nobody's going to be mad at you if you don't have the answers. If you have the answer is yes, I know, but I cannot say who. Full stop. Done. But all this word salad speaking out both sides of your mouth is killing me. Big shout out to Leslie, who's celebrating 11 months as a detective squad member. It's the highest tier on True Crime Strategic. It's the highest tier. It's great cost that she's a member. We appreciate you. Leslie says, beneath the accusations and defenses, this is an immense tragedy. A young life was lost, and that's the most important part. It's a heartbreaking situation for the family and everyone who knew her. Rest in peace, Celeste. No better words could have been said by anyone. I couldn't even have said it better myself. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel, Leslie, and thank you so much for those heartfelt words for the victim. Oh, let's wrap this up soon, people. I'm getting tired.
One key, it's like, okay.
And I had one of these, but listening to this is making me tired. Let's keep going.
Who had access at that time? So is it the same person that moved the Tesla? Was another last part of the plan about to go in motion as far as getting rid of her body? I don't know.
Now, we heard this week from LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman, and he actually addressed this case directly when a TMZ reporter caught up with him outside the DA's office. And regarding the status of the case, he said, quote, "It is currently under investigation. We don't discuss suspects or the points in a continuing investigation. When and if that case is presented to the DA's office and we make a decision on it, I'll make sure you're one of the first to know. A case has not been presented to our office for filing consideration." And just to underline that, a spokesperson for the DA's office confirmed to Complex that, yeah, no case has been presented for filing consideration. The LAPD also told the outlet that the county medical examiner still hasn't determined a cause or manner of death, saying, quote, "It remains unclear whether there is any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body." Now, Steve, you just told us a lot of information here. Are you surprised that we don't have a confirmed suspect?
All right, so this will be the last thing we'll take from this one, then we'll move forward to the last exhibit. Big shout out to A Obsidian, 10 months as a White Shield member. Big part of our behind-the-scenes crew. We appreciate her immensely. She does really good work for the channel. She says, "Justice for Celeste. Rest in peace, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Celeste deserves life and a childhood." Well, it's gone now. She deserved it, and somebody stole it away from her. So we appreciate you. Big shout out to Aki, celebrating 42 months on a patrol level. You know, Aki, my sister, she could have at least been on the White Shield level. What's up with that, sis? You know what I'm saying? You on a patrol level, like A Obsidian's on a White Shield level. Leslie's a detective squad. Why you just on a patrol level? But it's all good. She says, he. Well, I'm saying he to your membership level. But anyway, let's keep going.
Law enforcement or a person of interest or even an arrest at this point? Or can you say from what you're seeing, that makes sense, but Jesse, maybe be on the lookout for something soon?
Yeah, I would say, Jesse, that makes sense, but maybe be on the lookout for something soon. Yeah, I've seen this in a lot of cases. It tells me, listen, I don't have any inside information on this. I'm just saying, from my opinion, that this means that during the examination, the autopsy examination, there was nothing very obvious, such as a crushed skull, bullet holes, anything like that. So they're waiting on toxicology to come back to make that final determination. Now, is the medical examiner in contact with the detectives in between this time? Are they? Absolutely. You know, do they have a preliminary determination? I'm sure they do. I think the DA's office is working side by side with the detectives and telling them, this is what we need for these charges. This is what we would need for these charges. Can you get it or not get it? Listen, a crime 100% happened.
All right, we're going to stop this right here, guys. All right, let's go over to Ashley Banfield, man. Big shout out to Ashley Banfield. We love her channel. She's going to talk about SF Investigates.
The dead or soon-to-be-dead teenage runaway in the trunk of her boyfriend's Tesla and ditched that Tesla on an upscale street in the Hollywood Hills. And weeks later, that Tesla with the rotting corpse inside was ticketed and towed away. That somebody may or may not have had a hand in the runaway's death, but my money is on yes. And more than a month after this mystery first hit the headlines with the discovery of the decomposing body of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the name of that somebody is as unknown to us officially as ever.
Oh, Lord of mercy.
But apparently not to everybody. The identity.
Wow. I got to stop the show again, man. This was huge because Perpetual has been donating all show. Perpetual has just donated $50 super chat to the channel. And this is huge because this show is probably not going to be monetized because YouTube has been on a tear with this channel. So we appreciate that support. But Perpetual has just been, she been making it rain all show. Perpetual, we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart for supporting the channel. You are appreciated. It's very kind of you. You have shown the show a great deal of support and love, and we thank you immensely from the bottom of our heart. We're happy to have you here on our show supporting us. Thank you so much, Perpetual. Very, very, very kind. Right now, we have 455 people watching this live. Please hit that like button, and can everybody in the chat hit a thumbs up on Perpetual right now for her generosity with the show. We do appreciate you. Let's keep going. It's so kind. You guys have been so generous today. Let's keep going.
Of the person who abandoned that Tesla, a filthy luxury car owned by the singer David, with David's 14-year-old girlfriend dead inside, is now known to investigators. And tonight, we're learning that both the car and driver were captured on surveillance video the last time that car was apparently driven by anyone. Even better, we've learned the driver was visible enough in that footage to be identified later on. LA police are not talking about this or anything else in the Celeste death investigation. The bombshell video was unearthed by the private investigator hired by the owner of the house where David lived up until a couple of weeks after Celeste was found dead in his car. And that's not the only piece of evidence that the PI unearthed. That investigator's name is Steve Fisher, and he joins me now live. Steve, welcome back to the program. How certain are you that this video of the car driving away from David's mansion is the last time it drove and ended up at the spot where it was abandoned, likely with that body inside?
I'm certain. Listen, I can't say 100% because there's not a camera trained on that Tesla once it's parked. Continuously that I've seen. I mean, there likely is a camera, but I've seen the car driven to that spot, and with the dates, with the date that it was, they left town right after that. I'm certain that is the last time the car was driven. It was put there with her, in the front trunk.
And there's one weird detail about what you could, well, there's a lot of weird details, and I'm going to get to what you saw through the driver's side window in a second, but there was an air freshener that was found in the car at this point that we see on our screen, where it was abandoned. Was that air freshener also hanging from the rear view mirror when it drove off from David's house?
It wasn't, but the window was half to 3/4 of the way down, which is odd because it was a very short drive, and also at that on that day, this is the very end of July 29th. It was like 78 degrees at that time in the morning, or 77 degrees. And if it was on the street where the house is, so it's shaded by the house. So, if you're going, I don't know why the window would be rolled down unless there's something, offensive there. And then all of a sudden, one of the first things I picked up on when the news first broke about her being found in there, where they were towing the car away from the impound.
Tina says happy.
LAPD was.
Tina says happy 20 years. It's 19 years, Tina. 19 years in law enforcement, 15 years as a SA investigator, 15 years in total between investigating sex crimes for the state of New York, for the Department of Corrections, and investigating on the streets as a detective for my police department. 15 total years of investigative experience, 19 years total. I love it. It's been a pleasure. I can't wait to reach 20 years. You guys are amazing. Serving the people is amazing. Let's keep going.
Why on a $104,000 car is there a Christmas tree air freshener hanging from the, from the mirror? It seemed kind of odd to me, but I guess maybe they thought that would help, mask it for when they had to move the car again.
If there was that smell at that time, because again, we have no idea when Celeste started decomposing in that trunk. We don't know if she'd been decomposing in the trunk for a long time before it ended up being, the car ended up being abandoned. But talk to me about the date of this video, July 29th, and talk to me about what you saw. What did you see in terms of the identity of the person driving through that open window?
So it's very clearly that Tesla, one, because the Tesla has that tape on the rear spoiler for whatever reason. I don't know why it's there. And also, it was just like it is in that picture. It was that dirty, except you could tell that they had run the windshield wiper like once to clear the dirt away so they could see. And it comes very close to the camera, although there is some motion blur, but you can see the person and you can see what they're wearing, something pretty distinctive. And there's photos that I have from 12 hours earlier, a person at the house wearing the same thing.
And I know that the viewers right now are screaming at the TV set saying, Ashley, ask him who it was.
I mean, I honestly wish I could tell you. I don't want to, I don't want to interfere with LAPD on that. And I think that's coming because we know a crime was committed 100%. Somebody concealed her body.
Thank you for watching. All right, man. We covered the crap out of that SF Investigate stuff. So we gave him 2 opportunities to explain what's going on in his investigation. And so, listen, I don't know what information he has. He's told us nothing. I think the biggest take from it is that he alleges he observed somebody driving the vehicle and parking it in its final place. He did say, however, that there aren't any cameras that are literally pointed onto the car, so I don't think that he could definitively say whether anybody went in and out of the car after it was parked in its final resting place. But he said that he observed a person driving the vehicle to its final parking spot and that he knows who that person is. And then an individual observed inside the video surveillance inside of the house was wearing the same outfit that the person he saw driving the car was wearing. That's what I took from that. And he's not willing to divulge who that person is because he does not want to hamper or in any way mess with the investigation that's currently being done by the LAPD. That's what I got from that. So only time will tell, ladies and gentlemen, the extent by which the LAPD has evidence that a crime is committed. I am just not excited about any of this. It's starting to turn into a circus. I don't want this to be a circus, okay? I'm a YouTube personality. I'm here to give you an entertaining take on this. What I'm doing is in its own place, all right? When it comes to what's happening on the ground, we don't want this to be a circus. We want justice for Celeste. And I feel like it's starting to turn into a circus, and this is very troubling for me. Very troubling. All right, let me get Cuomo from behind me. So guys, please do support the channel. Hit that like button. We have 498 likes. At least get up to 500. Two more likes. Get to 500. Guys, it's been over 2 hours. We've been streaming 2 hours and 2 minutes and counting. I want justice for Celeste. We're going to keep on top of this. We're not going to be covering this every day. We have other things we need to cover as well. We're here to give a voice to the voiceless, and we're only going to cover when we have substantial amount of information to share with you guys like we did today. So it's been like maybe 2 weeks since we've covered this, and now we come here and we have a ton of information to give you. We're not here to break news. We're here to bring the news together and understand it together. That's what we're here to do. You come here not because I'm the first. You come here because you want my expertise, and maybe you want some other things. Maybe you just like my smile. Who knows? Whatever. But we appreciate you immensely. Once again, celebrating 19 years as of 2 days ago in law enforcement. I'm very happy about that. And we are less than 500 subscribers away from having 100,000 subscribers. It's been a long journey for us to get there as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. We know everybody who's chatting has subscribed to the channel because we have subscriber only on the channel. So only people who have subscribed to this channel can chat right now. But there's a lot of people who are watching who have not subscribed yet. We need you to subscribe. We need you to support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. Open yourself up to a new voice. Open yourself up to a new take on true crime. And understand that when I'm here presenting to you, sometimes I'm going to make you laugh. Sometimes I'm going to try and make you laugh, and then I'm going to fall flat on my face. But regardless of what I say and my approach to this channel, you are hearing it from an active duty detective, somebody who's in it right now, somebody who's been investigating cases for the last 15 years and has been in law enforcement for 19 years. I've been putting cases together longer than most human beings have been alive, okay? We got 15-year-olds right now talking back to their mommies. You got 18-year-olds thinking that they're adults and talking back to their daddies. And I've been in law enforcement longer than that young person has been alive. So we're bringing a very unique approach to true crime, and we hope that you guys enjoy it. We hope that you enjoy and that you guys join us on this journey. Big shout out to Christina Journey 64. I said Journey, and look, her name is Christina Journey. Christina's Journey 64 with a $5 super chat says, my first time visiting your channel. I love it. I feel like it's very sincere. Thank you so much, and we do appreciate that, and that's exactly what we want to present to you guys. Honesty, integrity, and being sincere. That's what we're trying to do, guys. So anyway, guys, I love you guys immensely. Big shout out to Perpetual and everybody else who supported the channel. I want to give a big shout out to them one more time. I know I shouted them out already, but I want to do it one more time. Big shout out to MM Claire, who gave us our first super chat, Sarah Adams, who backed it up, Perpetual, who gave us $20, then Messy Sweets, who gave us $2, Carrie Cowherd, who gave us $5, Perpetual came back with another $20, then Christina gave a one gift membership. H. Singh, who's been a supporter of the channel for a while, gave us $10. Vicky Israel gave us $5. Rochelle Schoen gave us $50. Then Leslie came back with one gift membership. Aki gave 5 gift memberships. Key became a recruit. Leslie came back with a great statement celebrating her 11 months as a DT squad member. Then A Obsidian, one of our moderators, celebrated her 10 months as a White Shield. Aki had to outdo them and show that she was 42 months on a patrol level. Then Christina Journey came back with a $5 super chat, and we are just so happy to get all the support that we got. And then, of course, Perpetual came back with a $50 super chat, and we were very, very, very appreciative of all the donations and the support that we got today. Let me wrap this show up by saying God bless. Keep your loved ones close to you. Support the channel if you can by subscribing and hitting that like button. We'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.